In what may be the dumbest segment in the history of cable news, Jesse Waters of Fox News brought on the conservative duo, collectively known as Dilk, or Diamond and Silk, and he asked them what they thought about the revelation that Bert and Ernie of Sesame Street might be gay. Oh, so stupid. And they made it clear that they were not okay with the prospect. They made it clear that they're not okay with the prospect of these two puppets being gay.
Big controversy surrounding Bert and Ernie. I can't believe I'm doing this segment, but I am. I guess there's been rumors that Bert and Ernie were gay for a very long time, and the writer came out with a statement, and he said this: I always felt that without a huge agenda, when I was writing Bert and Ernie, they were gay. I didn't have any other way to contextualize them. The other thing was, more than one person referred to Arnie and I as Bert and Ernie. I guess Arnie is his partner. And so Sesame Street had to come out and respond to this, and this is what Sesame Street said. Sesame Street has always stood for inclusion and acceptance. It's a place where people of all cultures and backgrounds are welcome. Bert and Ernie were created to be best friends and to teach young children that people can get along with those who are very different from themselves. I never even thought about whether Bert and Ernie were gay, but I guess this is a big story. Diamond and Silk, what's your feeling about Bert and Ernie?
Well, listen, we grew up watching Sesame Street, and so we thought one was the father, one was the son. We didn't care less. Listen, I don't like the fact that they're trying to over-sexualize our cartoons.
That's right.
Leave that to other people. Let children be young and just
be children.
Yeah, and stop trying to over-sexualize and identify and this person is this sexual orientation and that person is that sexual orientation. Let's leave it to the children's imagination and keep it moving.
I do know one thing, though. I do know one thing. Oscar the Grouch, definitely a liberal.
Okay.
Ladies, thank you very much.
Okay, I don't know why I'm laughing so hard at this. So, I don't know their names because Jesse Waters never gives them enough time to distinguish which one is Diamond and which one is Silk. So, we'll go with the nicknames. Last time, this is Dilk 1, and this is Dilk 2. I'm sorry, this is the dumbest thing I've ever talked about. Okay, so trying to address the substance here. Dilk 1 said, I don't like the fact that they're trying to over-sexualize our cartoons, and she made this point multiple times. Now, embedded in that statement is the assumption that homosexuality equals promiscuity. But if Bert and Ernie are simply living together as a couple, that fact alone doesn't constitute an over-sexualization of Bert and Ernie, or sexualization at all, frankly speaking. And someone who's inclined to believe that that is in fact the case is inadvertently revealing their own prejudice against gay people. Because what are some of the most prominent stereotypes against gay people? They're perverted, they're promiscuous, everything they do is hypersexual, and they're always flaunting their sexuality. So she believes this stereotype, presumably because she's ignorant and doesn't know a gay person. So of course, simply making Bert and Ernie gay, the mere fact that they are a homosexual couple, doesn't over-sexualize them. The only way that you can sexualize these characters is if they were blowing each other on the screen. But obviously, that's not the case. It's a fact that gay people exist, and the people against Bert and Ernie being gay, even though it's stupid, even though it's just puppets, they're revealing their agenda, and that agenda is to dehumanize and fight against the normalization of homosexuality because they don't believe that they're morally equal, and probably because they believe they should be legally inferior as well, seeing that Diamond and Silk are Republican Party propagandists. And again, going back to this comment that making them gay would somehow sexualize them, well, let's apply that. Let's say that instead of them being gay, these two are gay, and that Diamond and Silk are a lesbian couple. Well, just the mere fact that they're lesbians, would that over-sexualize them and their political commentary? Of course not. Of course not. It's the most benign thing in the world. But nonetheless, since in their minds homosexuality equals bad, well, they think that the mere fact that they're gay is over-sexualization because, of course, they're biased against gay people. Now, I do want to get to something that Dilk too said because it was just kind of thrown in there. She said, leave Bert and Ernie alone. Now, what's weird is that she's saying this to the writer of Bert and Ernie, who I'm assuming had a part in creating these characters. But this is also wrong because to assert that they should be left alone implies that some harm is being done to these characters, and to her, for them to be gay ruins them in her mind, and this likely stems from her belief that homosexuality is this corrupting influence, which is a view that stems from many religious organizations. But it's inherently bigoted, and if we're supposed to believe that these characters would be ruined for Dilk too if they are in fact gay, then she's kind of inadvertently revealing that she has this visceral reaction to homosexuality. And if you have this visceral reaction, then an individual from the community of the facts over feelings people is putting feelings over facts in this situation. And it's a fact that gay people exist and they in no way, shape, or form negatively impact the lives of heterosexual individuals. But with that being said, I honestly can't believe that I've talked about Sesame Street for this long on the Humanist Report. This is probably a new low for the show, but, since Fox News brought it up, and friends of the show, Diamond and Silk, talked about it, I felt the need to discuss this because these types of things, even though they may seem, insignificant, they are pretty substantial, right? Because, look, I don't personally know if Bert and Ernie are gay, nor do I really care that much, but if it triggers some conservatives, then damn fucking right, I hope that they are gay. But, I mean, at the end of the day, this kind of just goes to show you that there's this embedded bias in the mainstream media, specifically within conservative circles in mainstream news, that being gay automatically is bad, and the fact that it's news at all really shows that there's still this bias against gay people, because the fact that Bert and Ernie are gay, it shouldn't be news. It should just be a fact, a thing, right? Because it doesn't matter whether they're gay. That doesn't change the substance of the show. That shouldn't ruin it for people. Being gay is just a fact of life. And as we normalize homosexuality more and more each year in our society, we're going to see individuals like Diamond and Silk, who are from older generations, try to push back against that and try to fight back. But understand that they're losing this battle. And I think that when it comes to homosexuality, the left has absolutely won the culture war. I mean, there's no question about that. But now it's just a matter of us winning the legal war, and that's still a battle that we have to fight for. Gays can still be fired just for being gay in more than 20 states, almost half the country, which is completely unacceptable. Trans people are now having to fight for the right to just use the bathroom of the gender that they identify as, which is completely unacceptable. And at the end of the day, even though this may have been a seemingly insignificant segment, there's still biases that we have to call out, because these individuals, they have an agenda. They have a conservative right-wing agenda. And this is kind of like subliminal messaging, right? They're trying to hit you with this subtle implication that gays are perverts. And even if that may have not been their intention here, that certainly is what a lot of viewers of Fox News who are older are going to get. So we have to call it out when we see it, and I apologize to my viewers for talking about Bert and Ernie for this long.
Support this podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Humanist Report.